Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about the last part of my four-part question. So let's get into it. So the last part of this question was, is there any way to find the next big thing as far as startups go and get in at the ground floor? Is the next big thing I'm talking about really on a website like AngelList or on Developer Job Board? I want to find it. How? I don't want billions in stock values. I just want to be part of truly innovative and disruptive companies from the beginning and watch it grow. So the short answer is that this comes down to how much you're going to invest in finding these companies. Let me explain. Guys, nobody knows what the next big thing is going to be. But one thing that there is a lot of is startups. And a lot of small startups at that. Small startups where we usually in the startup world, or in general terms, we talk about the first 50 employees, which is the idea is very simple. The first 50 employees for a company is the employees that is more or less going to be the foundation team that builds the idea of the company, because every single company starts out usually the same way. There's one person or like a very small group of people who have some idea. They create a proof of concept, they get some investment, some traction on the thing, they hire some people, the thing grows, and by the time they have around 50 people, the company has matured to a point where they actually have sort of solidified their idea and their company identity. And everybody who is in the first 50 usually is part of building that up, and that's where you have the most influence, unless you're like the founder of the company. So there's a ton of these companies, like literally thousands of these companies everywhere. And the thing here is that, sure, you may not find these companies on AngelList or Developer Job Boards or something like that if you're doing freelance work or things of this nature. But what you have to do in order to find such a company that really does disrupt everything and find the company that does the next best thing, if you want to be early about it, is to become a capital investor. That's pretty much what they do. That's their bread and butter. To find companies, like they are doing it all from a financial perspective, of course, and in some cases you might have to think that way as well. But for you as an engineer, what you should be focusing on is the idea of the company, and if you believe in that idea, and that's all there is to it. If you have the ability to look at someone's concept, because usually it's very rough, and see that, wow, there's a lot of cool stuff that can be done with this, then you have that gene that is required to make good investments. Because a capital investor, or like an investor, they invest their money. You're going to invest your time, and in a sense that is your money as well, because I can promise you that if you're joining one of these smaller startups, odds are that you will not get paid more than a pittance. It's like money is super tight for a lot of companies at that early stage, unless they have like very serious investors very early on, and that's not that common, but it does happen. So what I want you to take away from this is that nobody knows what the next big thing is going to be, but if you want to figure that out for yourself, you have to go about it in a very similar way to an investor. You need to have a look at all the companies. There are so many companies doing tons and tons of stuff. You can go, there's like meetups for startups, there are like venture capitalist competitions where people submit ideas for funding. My company did the guys who founded my company did a very similar thing. They went about it the same way. So if you wanted to get in on that action really early on, all you really needed to know was what channels do these, because all of the startups usually do the same thing. They're all looking for investors. So if you go to where the investors are, where the money is coming from for the startups and their initial business, if you're hooked into those channels, then you will get exposed to all these ideas, and then you simply call these people up and say, hey, can I come for an interview? That's pretty much all you need to do. And in these early stages, they might be very open to have you go, and might be very flattered to have someone acknowledge their ideas, because trust me, it's rough going in the beginning. Nobody buys into you until you prove that you can have something to actually provide. So go about it that way. Hook into the same channels as the investors, and I promise you, you will get a smorgasbord of options to pick from, and then it comes down to you. Where are you going to which one are you going to bet on? And that I leave up to you. Have a great day.